All right, Pilsy. For the first time ever, we're testing out the live feature of Restream. So if you're watching before the Ottawa Senators face the Anaheim Ducks down in California, you can join us right now for all of what you'd get typically in a Friday LOSP. But since the game was at 4 o'clock, Pilsy, we're recording after. So a little pregame tease. How you feeling today? Ottawa making a lineup change in goal, and we'll get into all of that and more.
Well, I'm feeling good. This is a reset, that I think the Senators will be happy for, especially after the way that San Jose game went. I'm glad they didn't have to play back-to-back in that situation. And now we're probably going to get to see Gustafsson. Has the starter been announced? Is it going to be Gus?
No, we've got Anton Forsberg, and I'm glad because you've been out and about. I was watching the DJ Smith press conference earlier. Matt Murray is a healthy scratch. How's that for sending a message to your starting goalie?
Well, I mean, my first question is, do we know that truly he's healthy? There's always a chance that maybe it's not a healthy scratch. But if it is truly, then you know what? Everybody needs that perspective once in a while. And I think especially the way DJ Smith's comments after the San Jose Sharks game made it very clear how he felt about what happened in that game and kind of who was to blame without specifically saying names. He made it pretty clear to everyone who he thought was to blame, and that's Matt Murray. And sure, he hasn't had the best opportunities and the health hasn't been great and the defense in front of him hasn't great, but once in a while, it's not that we're saying he's always the problem, but once in a while, Ross, we need to be saying he is the solution, right?
Yes.
Like every couple games, we got to say Matt Murray stole that game for the Sens. And once in a while, you can say in San Jose's game, Matt Murray lost that game. But if there's not that balance, he's got 0 wins.
None.
So, the give and take in that relationship hasn't been there. And Matt Murray hasn't given them a reason to be like, you're our number one guy and you're living up to that contract and what we expected you to be doing here. So I think it's fair that he gets a healthy scratch. And you know what? Maybe it's a good thing. There's lots of times with goalies where the pressure gets to you. If you're not able to be in a health and mental zone that you feel confident in, you need to take a step back. So hopefully for Matt Murray, this is what does that for him and he comes back stronger.
Step back for Matt Murray. Step forward for Anton Forsberg, a guy who's only had one start.
Feels like forever,
October 23rd. He's going on the last month. He got into that Washington game, played 15-43 and allowed 4 goals. So didn't really work out great. And honestly, that game on October 23rd, he didn't get the start. That was the Rangers game, Pilsy, where he went in with 5 minutes left and gave up 2 goals. He's the goaltender of decision in that game. So he earned a loss. He's not having a much better season if we're just looking at wins and losses than Matt Murray. He had that unbelievable opener, 46 saves. You and I were in the building for that one. But since it's been 4 straight losses for him. He didn't get the loss in Washington. Gus got that one instead for him. But he's coming off the game we don't talk about, that Calgary game right before COVID. So what do you want to see from the Senators starting goalie tonight to earn himself? I'd imagine we see Gus in next game, but right now this goaltending situation is awfully unstable in Ottawa.
Yeah, I mean, that's saying it for sure. I think for what I expect from Forsberg here is you can't allow any goals where goaltending can be to blame again, right? Like Forsberg's got to kind of go in there and take one for the boys and really show the team, the fans, management that, hey, this goaltending isn't as bad as Locked On Senators is making it look right now. And you got to do it for the goaltenders as a collective. They got to pick themselves up. Right now, I don't really think it's as much as a competition. I got to beat this guy out for a job. We all got to try to keep our jobs here. Other than Gustafsson, everyone's, especially Forsberg, you're fighting for a job. And there's rumors going around now. Elliot Friedman reporting that Buffalo's looking for a goalie, and Forsberg, he's under the pay grade that they're definitely looking for, and the commitment level that they're looking for here to just try to find lightning in a bottle to see if they can make a better season than they have in the last decade. So there's opportunities here for you, especially a guy like Forsberg, last year of his contract, maybe get a trade, maybe get an extension. You got to play like you're worth it. There's lots of teams looking for goalies. So I think, and especially the Sens, they can't keep 3 healthy goalies, especially 3. Most of the time when teams have 3 healthy goalies, it's because you're like, oh, we cannot afford to lose one of this guy. We can't send one of these guys down. They're all playing so well. Yeah, that's not the case for your Ottawa Senators. They're all actually kind of not that great. I mean, Gus has been okay, but let's not sugar sprinkle. What word
They
am I
haven't
looking for?
stolen wins, and he's stolen periods in a
Yeah,
sense. But the next step in this rebuild is to steal games, and that's what this Anaheim Ducks team, who's also young and inexperienced for the most part, they've got some wily vets, of course, as Ryan Getzlaf's having a major bounce back season. But what's happened is John Gibson's got a .920 save percentage, and he's bailing them out when they need it most, and that's what's allowed Anaheim to go on this great start to the season. If you told me before the year, now they've come back to earth a little bit, but
3-game
still
losing streak. Yeah,
10, 7, and 3 on the year. That's pretty impressive for this Ducks team. They're scoring more than 3 goals and allowing 2.7. So this is a team, and special teams does a lot of the work for them. 4th on the power play and 9th in penalty killing. How do you see Ottawa somehow clawing out a victory tonight?
well, the fact that Anaheim's at least lost their last couple games, I think, is good. They're not, they're not a fad anymore. I think to start the season, Troy Terry getting a point every single game for like a month was an exciting fad, and like it seemed like, okay, the Ducks are much better in the Pacific than we ever thought they were going to be, or at least this season. So I think having them come down to earth a little bit is going to be good. They've been humbled a bit, so they're not riding that insane energy. And the Ottawa Senators, they need to look at this as we're going into back-to-back games here. We need to figure out a way to get a point. Just let's get 1 point in this back-to-back situation. Keep one game close enough to head to a shootout or overtime, and just give ourselves a morale boost here. And Anaheim, like you said, is a rebuilding team that the expectations were low, but they're exceeding them. So if I'm the Ottawa Senators, I'm sitting there being like, we were a team where despite what management said, expectations around the league were fairly low. Why can't we be the ones that are popping off here? Why aren't we the ones who have a Troy Terry, a Trevor Zegras? Why aren't those guys popping off for us? We can do the same things. And I mean, Matt Murray on paper is kind of similar to Gibson, right? Like they're very similar ages. They're guys who have played in intense playoff series and played in meaningful games and have had that pedigree of stealing games before. So if you're the Senators, you're looking at the Ducks saying, why not us?
Yeah, no doubt. And a situation, can you believe Jakob Silfverberg, I meant to say, only has 1 goal in 20 games or 14 games. He's missed some time with injury. He's expected to be in the lineup. I almost put my Silfverberg jersey in the frame, but we need to will Ottawa to a victory. If you're just tuning in, we're doing a quick live preview show, but Friday's official Locked On Senators. We're going to record right after this game, and we apologize in advance if we mush them, because we haven't recorded the day after or following, because tonight it's going to be a bit different, since Dallas in
the Sunday Dallas game they won. Yep, that was it.
Sunday Dallas. So that was exactly a month ago, because their other 2 wins was a Friday night in Dallas and then a Saturday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we're hoping and praying that we have a win to talk about right now. And it's tough when you go against the Ducks. We see Stimpy JD, Jason Hernandez from Locked On Ducks, and he's going to be quick to bring back the 07 final memories, I'm sure. But even still, this is a matchup. These 2 teams came into the league pretty similar time. I want to say a year or 2 apart. And you look at them as a team that's gotten a little more success done, just like Tampa, Ottawa's expansion sisters. But that's a key to tonight. My key to victory tonight is stay out of the penalty box. I mentioned the stats, both 4th on the power play. And even when you get power plays, Ottawa's been weird recently. They go 0 for 4 last game. They go 0 for 5 a few other games, but then a couple 2 for 3 performances in there. So if they get 1 on the power play, a lot more likely to get
definitely
a second one. So stay out of the penalty box. Try to do some damage 5-on-5, especially early. Maybe you can catch a team here who is falling, as you said, back down to earth in the standings, and maybe they start to second guess whether it was just a hot start and maybe they aren't that far ahead of Ottawa in the rebuild and how that's going. So right now, a first goal would be beautiful. It's been a long time since that's happened, especially these last 2 games. Goals are flying back and forth, but if you can get out to an early lead, that would go a long way. So that's what I'm hoping to see in terms of willing this team to a victory. Now, Pilsy, a locked on player for you for the Ottawa Senators.
My locked on player. Wait, before we get into that, let's pop the lines up here first. The Sens lineup.
the Sens lines. I'll quickly rattle off the Ducks lines first before we transfer over to them. Maybe we'll start with our lookout player, finish off strong with the Senators, and go right into game time. This is fun. I like the live aspect of this. Our first time doing a live show. If you don't subscribe already, would go a long way for the show. If you don't mind clicking that on YouTube or wherever you download your podcast, free and available. Black Friday sale, even more free than ever.
100% off.
100%
That's the kind of deal we're offering. Try to beat that.
Love to see it.
All right, so I'll start with my Ducks lookout player. And
you want the lines first?
I'm looking at the lines here, but we can pop them up for the viewers if you like. I'm going off daily face-off. Is that what you're using?
Always daily face-off, where they have a former Senator playing top line.
I was gonna when you were talking about Silverberg, I was like, Ross, you're talking about a fourth line guy. We need to be talking about Derek Grant, the top line guy here.
Wow, no goals in 17 games. So is he really a top line guy, or is he just a placeholder there? He's got 4 assists, -4 on the season, but it is funny to see him up there. Getzlaf and Troy Terry are the rest of that line. Troy Terry had a 16-game point streak.
Insane, man.
But
Rudolph Balcers type shit.
Wrong league, though. Wrong league. Troy Terry, though, no points in his last 2 games. The second line is Trevor Zegras between Sonny Milano and Ricard Raquel. The third line, it's Isaac Lundstrom in between Nicolas Delorier. You might remember him, former Hab, former Buffalo Sabre, very tough customer, and Jakob Silfverberg. And the fourth line, local product, Benoit Olivier Groux. His dad, the head coach of the Syracuse Crunch for a lot of years, Canada's World Junior team as well. He's at left wing with Sam Steele and Sam Carrick on defense quickly. Lindholm with Jamie Drysdale, the, of course, always mentioned in the conversation of the 2020 draft, top defenseman with Jake Sanderson. Then Cam Fowler and Josh Manson, Simon Benoit, and Kevin Shattenkirk, an old hand and starting in goal. How disrespectful that they don't give us a backup, Pilsy. It's going to be John Gibson for the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, I mean, and, definitely the forward core of this group has changed a lot, but on the back end, Gibson's been a mainstay there and in net. And then that defense is pretty damn good, eh, Ross? Like Lindholm, Drysdale, nice pair. Fowler, Manson, whew. And then to have Shattenkirk as your third pair guy,
like power play guy,
who he's really with, right? So that decor is going to be tough to crack, no matter who's playing on the ice there. My lookout player is going to be Sonny Milano. You mentioned he's on the second line with Zegras and Ricard Raquel. That's a line that can have a lot of flash and a lot of flair, eh? Like, remember Milano when he was drafted by the Blue Jackets? He was famous for those YouTube videos of just insane dangles. Like, obviously everyone watches it and is like, cool kid, try to do that with a 220-pound defenseman in your face. Try to do that in the NHL. It probably won't work, but this kid's got sick hands. Like, if he's given the opportunity, he scored both of Anaheim's goals in their previous game, I think. Definitely he had 2 goals in their last game. I don't know if it was the only 2 goals. So he's feeling hot right now, playing on a second line with a guy like Trevor Zegras, who continues to impress. He's probably up there in the Calder Trophy nominations. He's going to be a guy to watch for sure. And then Ricard Raquel, that's someone who, when he's on his game, consistency maybe is an issue for him, but when he's on his game, he is silky. So that line, I'm going to be watching out for it. And I have a feeling we're going to see the Nick Paul, Connor Brown line go up against them to try to shut them down.
And we're getting more information here from Jason Hernandez, Locked On Ducks. You can go check out Locked On Ducks for sure. He thinks it's going to be Jakob Silfverberg on that top line. Different Sens abroad, and that would make sense, not Derek Grant. So it's been Henrique with Terry and Getzlaf all season long. But let's see if they can continue producing without Henrique, who's been unbelievable. That was another potential trade candidate for the Ottawa Senators in the offseason. And by the sounds of it, it was going to be, but by the sounds of it, then it was just going to be a salary dump. It's like, can they afford the 5 point whatever he's making? 5.825. But then he comes out, man, he's got 15 points in 19 games. So he was a big part. Funny that Jason mentions he's a big part of that line with Getzlaf and Terry, because he was a big part of a line with Connor Brown and at the World Championships, and Nick Paul. They were on a line for quite a bit of it. And then Mangiapane was in there as well. But I know that Henrique was the center, and they made a lot of sense that, hey, maybe Ottawa does target them. But my lookout player is going to be Jakob Silfverberg, just from that standpoint. I got his jersey hanging in there, as I mentioned, from back in the day. He got, I think, 10 games in after I got the jersey before he was in that trade to Anaheim for Bobby Ryan. That's a tough one.
Classic Senators jersey shit. Yeah. I feel like as soon as people start buying the jersey, that you can pretty much say they're out of town.
100%. So that makes me very nervous because the white one right behind me has no name on the back. One thing I do know, the black one, though, is going to have a C next time I come to Ottawa, because we're going to have to add that on to my number 7 uniform. All right, so that's my lookout player. Also, Trevor Zegras, for those maybe not as familiar, he was the American player at last year's World Juniors who basically guaranteed victory, said that they weren't scared of Team Canada, and then they went in and shut them out. He had a goal and assist in the final. He's an absolute star in the making. He's the kind of guy who's going to put fans in seats, just like Timmy. Like, they are electric playmakers. Did you see his celebration last week in overtime where he chucked his stick into the crowd, a la Jack Hughes?
Yep.
Wow.
I like it. I mean, that's fun.
I'm for it too.
Man, imagine the hype catching that stick. You'd be on cloud 9 as a fan. Wow.
Oh, yeah. As long as he's a righty, because I don't want to use it, Mix
I don't think you don't use that. I think that's the kind of thing you frame it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it would look good in our background for the pod.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. They're selling Dylan DeMello sticks at Canada Life Center, $75. I might grab one just to throw in as a representation of our Sens abroad. Throw Peter Regan's gloves on the bookshelf once I get that built.
I mean, he's playing for the Jets, so it makes sense to get DeMello there.
Yeah, that's easy. All right, Pillsy, let's get into the Ottawa Senators. It's about time. Only 16 minutes into the show, but starting to heat up. Really appreciate everyone for joining us. We're trying something new here. Guys. And if it works, then let's keep it rolling. I laughed because I was trying to transition the Sens are keeping these lines together because they work, but hasn't quite been the case. However, it will be the same lineup that faced the San Jose Sharks, except between the pipes. So, Josh Norris in between Tkachuk and Zach Sanford. Got Timmy STÜTZLE at center again in between Nick Paul and Connor Brown. We'll call that the Uncle Rico spot where Adam Henrique spent time at the World Championships. The third line, Tierney, Formenton, and Tyler Ennis. And the fourth line, Dylan Gambrell between Parker Kelly and Austin Watson. On defense, it's Thomas Chabot with Lassie Thompson, Mete with Zub, and Nick Holden with Nikita Zaitsev. I found it interesting that the Sens posted that Nick Holden has more points against the Anaheim Ducks than any other team he's ever faced. And I believe it's 9 points. Woo! So feel the excitement there. Anton Forsberg, 1-3 on the season with a .456 goals against average and an .884 save percentage. Who's your locked on player today, Pillsy?
I'm going to be locked on to Zach Sanford. This is a guy, he's coming off getting a hat trick a little while ago. He's playing up on that top line. I think he's someone that he's seeing an opportunity where maybe the coach is down on a lot of other guys, but he's up on me right now, and let's stay in his good books for now. So I have a feeling he's going to be playing hard, and anytime you get the opportunity to play up with Tkachuk and Norris, you don't take that lightly. That's a big opportunity, and he's the kind of player that was advertised, right? When we acquired him, when we started looking around and asking Blues players, this is kind of the guy he was supposed to be. And he's finally rounding into form and feeling it and being confident. So I love seeing him up there as long as Drake Batherson isn't available, obviously. And I'm happy that he's a guy that's getting these minutes, and he seems to complement Norris and Tkachuk as well.
Minutes are never a concern for my locked-on player. It's Thomas Chabot, who played another 27.50 against the Sharks. He had 2 assists. He was feeling it offensively, but the lasting impression he left, Pillsy, was that giveaway for the empty net goal. If you don't think that kept him up at night, I'll say it did, and I think we're going to see an even more focused performance at both ends of the ice from Thomas Chabot. And if they do, I think that Ottawa's actually got a pretty good shot of winning this game. Now, John Gibson remains the X factor. No doubt you're looking at an elite number 1 goalie in the league. Likely not likely. Who do you think, actually? That's a good conversation for a goalie-friendly show. John Gibson or Connor Hellebuck? Who do you think gets the start at the Olympics for Team USA?
That is tough. I mean, good problem to have.
Don't say Jack Campbell. I'll leave this stream.
Yeah, no, that's I definitely won't say that. I think you got to go Hellebuck, though, right? This is a guy that's been in Vezina conversation. He won the Vezina a couple years ago. 2020. Right? Yeah, so tough to argue with that. I'm going to go with Hellebuck there.
All right, good call. Okay, you already had your locked on player as well.
Sanford.
And let's finish off with Tim STÜTZLE playing center. Of course, that's been the major topic, and I loved the reassurance that DJ Smith gave him today. He said when he rewatched the San Jose game, it was defensively that he saw the most impact from STÜTZLE. He said the video was very good. He had speed and broke it out well. It was good defensively. He just doesn't want him to be overwhelmed. Now, again, just like in San Jose when it was Couture and Tomas Hertl, tonight you're going up against more veteran centers. How do you think he could do against Getzlaf and Henrique? What does he have to do to be successful, I mean to say?
Well, I don't think which line did Hernandez say Henrique's going to be on?
Henrique will be on the second line, I believe. So maybe they're shifting Zegras to the wing. We got to find that out. So
yeah, if that's Jason's what I was wondering there.
Let's see. And we're getting close, actually, to time where the lines will be tweeted out as we're half an hour from puck drop. Therefore, warm-up is underway.
But to answer your question simply, I think it's going to be the NORRIS, TKACHUK, SANFORD line that goes up against Getzlaf, right?
Yes.
I think that's definitely going to be the play there. So hopefully you don't have to worry about STÜTZLE in the face-off dot up against Ryan Getzlaf. That's definitely good. So I think, yeah, he'll be either going up against, I was hoping it was Zegras because that's a good storyline matchup too. You're two younger guys and probably closer in size and strength and stuff. So I would have liked STÜTZLE up against Zegras if that was possible. But Henrique, that's going to be a tough customer as well.
It's too bad that Shane Pinto not in the lineup, because then we could have another conversation about how Shane Pinto is better than this centerman from the 2019 draft in Zegras. Yeah. Obviously a high bar. Shane Pinto won best forward for his team at the World Juniors. Zegras won MVP of the World Juniors, which is interesting. Hey, we got a couple World Junior MVPs. One of my favorite stats, Thomas Chabot is the only defenseman in World Junior history to win MVP.
That is wild. Wow.
Back in 2017, he was unbelievable for that Team Canada. Just like John Gibson was unbelievable for the 2012 USA team. You know, the one where John Carlson had that heartbreaker overtime goal against Team Canada. I can't wait for World Junior season. It's going to feel so much better now with fans, because that's what it's all about. Junior hockey is going to be in Edmonton. And
any international play is about the fans, right? Like there's one thing being a fan of a professional team, but when you're cheering on your country, that's a whole nother level.
Yes, that's when the national anthem actually matters before and after games. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to get another 2-anthem game here tonight. One more note on the Ducks, just because he's a local product as well. Mason McTavish had played his 9 games. He's been sent down to the Peterborough Petes. He had a hat trick in his first game back in the OHL. Thank you very much.
And from what it sounds like, Ross, it sounds like he's going to be a likely trade candidate. So we just saw Ben Roger be moved from the London Knights
in the OHL.
In the OHL, yes, not in the NHL. Sorry,
Doria, call.
Yeah, sorry, that I should have preferenced that better. But yeah, because I don't follow the Petes close enough, but I don't think they're quite in contender status. And as we know in junior, you're either a contender, you're piling up draft picks for later, and I think that's where the Petes are at. So they're going to try to use that capital to get something back. So imagine Kingston.
Whoa.
Because Ben Roger got moved there. They're looking to load up here. They got Shane Wright for 1 year. Let's be honest. He's only going to be there this year. And then you got Levi Marilainen in between the pipes. It's cup or bust here. It's Mem cup or bust if you're the Kingston Frontenac. So that'd be awesome if he ended up there as well.
Yes, we'll discuss Ben Roger to Kingston after the game on the extended edition of Locked On Senators. MTG Canuck writes in asking your prediction for the game. Pilsy, what's yours?
I'm predicting this, like I said, we're hoping for 1 point in this back-to-back weekend. I'm predicting...
Wait, 1 point, like, total?
Yeah.
Oh.
Come on, Ross. You're 32nd out of 32nd. Like we gotta have a low bar here, and with 1 win in your last 10 games, I'm not getting too ahead of myself here.
Oh my God.
But I'm thinking this is the game they can do it, right? Like Forsberg has a lot to prove. It's the first game of the back-to-backs here, so they're gonna have the most pep in their step. So I'm thinking this is gonna be a 4-3 shootout loss. Let's go, Sens.
Oh, come on!
Hey, do you want my prediction, or you want a wild estimate? What, like, are you looking for something realistic here, or something fun?
Something that makes me feel good inside. That's all.
Okay. 7-6 Sens win.
7-6. See, that would be a fun afternoon outing.
The only way the Sens are sticking in games and winning them is if it's absolutely wild.
That's my favorite way to watch them. But in Anaheim, the Sens have only won 6 out of 19 games. Southern California has always been tough.
I think their last 10 record, Ross, I was reading the Ducks game day preview, is the Ducks are 7-1-2 up against the Sens last 10. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we're really looking forward to that. MTG Canuck thinks a 5-2 Anaheim win, but that if Gus was starting, then it would go all the way down to 3-2 for the Ottawa Senators. I'm gonna say a 6-4 loss with an empty net goal.
And you were mad at my prediction? What the hell?
I just wanted you to make me feel good. I'm gonna have to be realistic too. I don't think. And then the other team, they won't have to wait too long. January 29th, these two teams will be back in Ottawa for their second and final meeting of the season. Now, the lines for warm-up just got posted, and take this for what you will, because I already mentioned Nick Holden has more points against the Ducks than any other team. Big stat for a defensive defenseman. But they have Mete with Zaitsev and Holden with Artem Zub. Which one do you think plays more minutes? Which pair?
I don't know. I can't even think of that, Ross, because I'm so upset at the idea of having to watch Mete Zaitsev again. Like,
we've seen it before. Hey,
I don't want to see any of that, so I'm going Zub Holden. Actually, no, it's definitely going to be Zub Holden because you're going to give more minutes to Zub. So yeah, that's definitely the answer. Yeah, I don't want to have any Mete Zaitsev in my life anymore. I'm done with that.
You're done with it? Just like yesterday, I was a little harsh on Matt Murray. Do you think I was too harsh on him?
I don't think you were too harsh. I mean, hell, you basically said what enough. You said what the coach said, essentially, except you said it a little more specifically. I'm not quite at your level yet, but like I said in last show, like I'm running out of room to stand on the Matt Murray stand here. Like the ground is crumbling beneath my feet.
So once Brady Tkachuk was drafted, that was kind of the start of the rebuild, right? The year before was just bottom out. You're horrible, right? 2017-18 when they went on like the 16-game losing streak pretty much. And when
they weren't trying to rebuild. Yeah, you're just bad.
Exactly. Yeah. So I went out and got the goalie stats since the start of the 2018-19 season. And only Mike Condon has a worse save percentage than Matt Murray. And Mike Condon had maybe the worst performance in Senators history. The game in Arizona when he let one in from his own blue line.
Well, Ian Mendez, or was it Ian Mendez? No,
it was the Boston writer.
But that's just my brain being like, any athletic article, Ian Mendez did it if I read it.
Go and read the Jake Sanderson article, though, if you haven't already. Did you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's a great profile.
I love that he's goalie friendly. That's for sure. No, but speaking of that Condon game, that article referenced that was the game that kind of everything fell apart and his injuries were really starting to mess with him. So that's a great article too, especially Ross for us, where our majority of our podcasting was done in I'll call it the Mike Condon era, starting off. And we saw that game in Belleville and we were just like, what the hell is going on with Mike Condon? And now that explains a lot.
Pillsy, breaking news.
Oh, no.
From Jason Hernandez. I can't even say it with a straight face. The Sens are getting another backup goalie. No John Gibson today.
Yes. Stolaires?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Who would still have the best save percentage on the Sens by like 10 points.
Yeah, unfortunately, this doesn't change my prediction too much. Still really going for that shootout loss. But if there is a shootout loss, Ross, at least we know Troy Terry can't take 20 shootout attempts, right? So that's good.
Yeah, it's not like... Was that the World Juniors he did that?
Yeah.
That was unbelievable hockey.
Or wait, was it? No.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. No, it was Oshie was in the Olympics.
Yeah.
But it's in international play that once I think you have to do 3 different at the start, but then once you get into the extra rounds, which isn't even extra in the international game.
But Troy Terry did go to the Olympics, didn't he?
No.
He was one of those guys that when why would I think that if it wasn't true? I swear he was one of the guys that ended up playing for Team USA recently. But then maybe that's not true. But that's why I thought it could have been Olympics.
It's true.
I'm so smart.
5 assists in 5 games at the 2018 Olympics.
Him and Zub, 2 Olympians in those.
Only 1 gold medalist. Ooh, that's great. And Nate Barkley, to answer your question there, Drake Batherson, not on the road trip. You will not see him tonight or tomorrow for the Ottawa Senators. I think his next expected game, because I believe he's off protocol tomorrow, so you'd expect him to play on December 1st when the Sens host the Vancouver Canucks, who might be a bigger gong show than they are.
Which is hilarious to say as the Sens are in last place.
In the entire National
Only team
Hockey
without
League.
double-digit points, Ross.
Oh my God. And again, games in hand. Games in hand.
Yeah, games in hand.
But
Yeah, hold on
hey,
to
the
that.
games in hand are slipping because the Arizona Coyotes don't play just yet. Now, Anthony Stolarz played one game against the Ottawa Senators. He lost that, and he allowed 4 goals on 24 shots. I believe that was when he was a member of the Philadelphia Flyers, but don't quote me on that. Meanwhile,
That's when they had like 7 goalies that year.
I know they did, yes. Meanwhile, Anton Forsberg is 0-2 against the Anaheim Ducks with an .868 save percentage in his career. Again, not sure when that is from in terms of time or what team, because again, another guy who drifted all over the place. All right, as we get closer to puck drop here, the numbers continue to grow, so we'll hang out a little bit longer. And if
Ross, we've basically
us,
done an entire episode here. We were like, oh, let's hop on quickly and we'll tease the game for a couple minutes.
Yeah, well, we're getting some
hour
action
later.
We're getting some action in the chat, and people are watching, so why not? I'm going to have a coffee brewing here just in about 10 minutes before we get set for puck drop. And if you're just joining us again, we pulled up the Ottawa Senators projected lines. I think we teased it, but we didn't so much get into it. We talked about what defensively he'll have to deal with, and again, Cheryl Pounder's covering the game today for TSN.
Awesome.
So I'm excited to see what she has to say about it as well. But STÜTZLE at center and what he can bring going forward at that position. Does this solve like the biggest problem outside of goaltending right now for the team?
I think it's too early to say that. It could solve it because, I mean, definitely the biggest issue with this team is defensemen. But unless they're going to try Timmy on defense, which we're not too far from here with the way the standings are going, it's why not try it? But no Pinto, no Colin White, no trade acquisitions brought in like we thought. Tim Stützle could end up being a big piece here, especially when you look at the left wing side without Tim Stützle is in a good spot, really. Tkachuk, Paul, Formenton. Now, maybe, hopefully, Formenton becomes a top 6 player one day and Paul becomes your third line winger. And then that's looking all right. And then on the right side, when Boucher gets here, you're feeling pretty good about Batherson, Boucher, Brown too, right? So, and then if you get Pinto back healthy, then up the middle you got Norris, Stützle, Pinto, which also you feel pretty good about, right? So if this does end up working for the Sens, the Stützle center experiment, then it could go a long way when you're starting to shape this franchise. Yeah.
I would love to see it be a continuous thing. If we saw the last game that Tim Stützle ever played at wing already, I would be extremely stoked about that. All right, Stumpy's given us a few updates, so I just went and grabbed from the Anaheim Ducks account. We'll do our little Collinsworth slide here to get out from under the way. It's going to be Henrique at left wing with Getzlaf and Terry. Zegras between Milano and Raquel. We knew that. Lundestrom with Silverberg and Steele on the third line. And then that fourth line, as Stimpy likes to say, Elite 4C, Derek Grant in between Nicolas Delaurier and not Connor Carrick, because he's a defenseman. Sam Carrick. There you go. Defense, exactly what we thought. I don't know who Benoit is. It's certainly not Andre Benoit, former Ottawa Senator. Yeah. But you look up and down this lineup, and I think it's a team that can take the next step in their rebuild. This Lundestrom, he's a nice player as well. But the pieces are starting to trickle in here. And I'm also going to be looking out for Jamie Drysdale because there's too many. There's too much going on about him already being better than Jake Sanderson, which I think is just hilarious to say because they're so early in their careers. It's like we probably jumped to conclusions about Timmy Stützle being the best player from last year's draft.
Or it's like if you were going on Twitter and going crazy about Pinto having a better career than Caulfield. Like, that's just silly. Like, it's way too early.
Like that makes complete sense because they've just proven it time and time again. That's a horrible comparison.
Oh, damn.
I'll give you a chance to dig yourself out of it, though.
I'm great at comparisons, as history shows.
18 points in 44 games for Jamie Drysdale. Like, that's pretty impressive. Now, take the -17 out of it, a young defenseman on an up-and-coming team. But I'm pretty impressed with what I've seen. I believe, from what I've heard, and the little bit I get to watch the Anaheim Ducks, is that his edge work is what really separates him. He's one of those shifty at the offensive blue line defensemen.
But I don't want people to get it twisted. We don't think that Jamie Drysdale is a bad defenseman.
No.
Not at all. Like, I think Sens fans would love to have him. But when you're comparing him to Jake Sanderson, I
I'm not comparing many players to Jake Sanderson. I can't do it. He's too good.
That's what I mean. Like when and obviously we got the rose-colored glasses on as biased Sens fans, but
Foisey never misses an opportunity to remind you about Derek Stepan.
Yeah, whatever, Sean.
Timmy
whatever.
Stepan. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, this is gonna be a great game up against the. Do we know what jerseys the Ducks are wearing?
Very important.
Very important. Oh, all right. I'll just fill some time here. Maybe I'll try to make a couple more player comparables. Let's see what else we got. Oh no, Ross is back. I'll save those for later, I guess.
Check this out. Imagine they pulled these ones out of the cupboard.
Yeah, that's nice.
Those are old school. The thing. Wait, who do you think's on the back? It's pretty easy.
Korea.
Yeah, yeah. That was like 8-year-old me obsessed with D2. But man, those are unreal unis. You don't see those ones pulled back, but I do like what they've done with bringing back that old school logo, yet kind of updating the template of it a little bit.
Yeah, I really don't like when they mix in the orange with the old logo. Like, I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but I hate that combo. Like, that's just wrong in my mind.
Well, I've got great news for you because I just got a photo here of Tyler Ennis in warm-up. And who's number 41? Is Stolarz? Probably Stolarz. Warming up here. I'm just going to pull it up for everybody who's watching. Again, credit to the Sens Instagram for this. But these are not the jerseys I'm talking about, but this is what the Ottawa Senators get to play against today.
Yeah, that sucks. I hate that.
Well, because they changed pull it back up. They changed the inside of the logo, right? It's typically like a teal green type thing, and they made it into this like dirt gold.
Yeah, hate it.
Brutal. Get it off the screen. All right, let's get a couple more minutes in to look in the chat. Who else are we watching?
Do people have questions? Like, let's just open it right up.
There you go. Hey, while people are writing in, this is an afternoon game, which leads perfectly into the ability to see amazing hockey tonight. Now, I decided to go last weekend. I almost regret it. Minnesota Duluth, just because Jake Sanderson was out of the lineup. But the North Dakota Fighting Hawks are hosting the University of Minnesota. Huge rivalry series in the U.S. and it's going to be an unbelievable matchup. Jake Sanderson in the lineup. So that starts at 8:00 Eastern.
You'll love to see it, Ross. And speaking of huge rivalries, the Belleville Senators are at Place Bell up against the Laval Rocket tonight. So that is also going to be another rivalry game. That the Sens, they gotta win these games up against Laval, because I think there's only
because that's the only team they're playing.
Well, yeah, it's the only team they play, so you got to win all the games you play. But I think the decision between who's going to make the playoffs in the AHL in this division, it's going to come down to Belleville and Laval. I think some of the other teams are a little comfy in their spots, especially Rochester. I think is going to be all right. And then the Marlies, they just spend basically the Sens salary on their team, so they're going to make it. So there's only so many spots, and you got to make sure you're beating Laval when you get a chance. So I want to see them win both these games here.
Another live stream perk. Alfie came and he's making himself comfy. He hasn't been on since he was a baby puppy, eh?
Yeah,
Alfie,
he's a big
say hi,
boy
dude.
these days.
He is a big fella, just recovering from his emasculine surgery that he had to go, but that's been 2 weeks. So say hi, Alf, man. Dogs get clicks. All right, Alfie. That being said, sorry, we're gonna get some questions from the chat, and there's a few really good ones. Before Paul LeBlanc asks about Shane Pinto, no update, which I found interesting because we got updates on Josh Brown and all these other injured guys. Are they trying to avoid surgery? Is that the only reasonable explanation why it hasn't been announced yet?
1 sec. I just got to put something up quick here before I start this, Ross.
I have a feeling I know what you're typing. Are you typing something?
No, I already have it typed, unless you delete it. Oh, yeah, okay.
No, I didn't.
So, talking about Shane Pinto's injury, Brandon Piller, not a doctor. I have no clue. Yeah, not a doctor. I'm not sure what they're working on here, but anytime it's a shoulder injury, I mean, look at any player that has shoulder injuries. They're very fickle. Like, obviously, the doctors all cleared him to play again, and then
how would you know? You know doctors?
Well, I'm making assumptions. I'm not a doctor. That's what I'm saying. Obviously,
I need to get you that on a sign that you can hang up above the Hasek jersey up there.
They need to.
Do not ask me medical advice.
No, you can ask me, but just be aware I'm not a doctor, so you're not getting anything
Disclaimer.
that you should take seriously here. But well, obviously the doctors cleared him. They thought his shoulder was fine, and then a non-contact play, something he's done thousands of times, take a face off, and his shoulder just pops right out, right? So that's the kind of thing where you got to be extra careful with an injury like that, because if you bring him back too soon, we saw what happens.
10 minutes until puck drop. Couple more questions here before, although that was not a question about us. This next one is, I really like, from Dan Hobbs. Pilsy, we'll get yours first because, again, you not having grown up in Ottawa, they were further and fewer between. But what was your favorite memory from an in-person Sens game? So you've been to 2, right, in Ottawa? Can't hear you when you're muted.
Not an audio technician either. I've been to more. I do have a Sens life outside of going to games with you, Ross. I have been to games before. Probably my biggest memory though. That's tough. No, actually it's easy. It was the home opener this year. Like that was the greatest experience. Like things getting back to normal after COVID. It was so cool to get to meet listeners and fans of the show and get to hang out with them. The Sens getting up 3-0 in the first period and ending up actually holding on 3-2 up.
Beat the traffic chant.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's actually the easiest memory for sure. That was an absolute blast, and I was on cloud 9 pretty much that whole night. That was awesome.
And Liliem's Martian hopping into the chat, mentioning that he was with the boys that night.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Martian appearance always, when he graces us away from the cameras, is always nice.
We sent him the link. Hop on, Martian. We got a couple minutes here before puck drop. We'd love to get your take on your favorite in-person Sens memory. Mine, I've got a few that really
yeah, how much time do we have here?
I've been to a couple of games over the years, but the one that's above all else, it has to be Game 3. And interestingly enough, they're playing the Ducks today. The one game that they won of the Stanley Cup final in 2007 was that first home game. So it's already electric atmosphere. The first Stanley Cup final game in Ottawa, and then they get the victory. It was 5 different goal scorers, I believe. Anton Volchenkov scored a goal. That's a celebration-worthy moment.
Didn't Shuby get an assist in that game as well?
I'm pulling up the game. Game 3,
I think we were talking about it, and he was like, yeah, I got points in the Stanley Cup final. Not a big deal.
Hell yeah. We got to get Shuby back on. He's a beauty. I like catching up with him and seeing what he's doing in his coaching career. Sens, they win that game 5-3. Chris Neal, Mike Fisher, Daniel Alfredson, Dean McCammon, assisted by Christoph Schubert, and then Anton Volchenkov in the third period there. And that was it? No, Pronger got suspended for his hit the next game. But because Dean McCammon, remember that greasy forearm shiver? But just the atmosphere in that game, the O Canada, everything was so loud. It was an amazing memory. More recently, the one game, I was living in Halifax at the time, the one game I got back for on the Hamburglar run happened to be the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That was
Mark
critical.
Stone again. It was Easter weekend. I was back home for that, and they go down 3-0. Crosby scores 10 seconds into the game, and I turned to my buddy Jared Havlock, who I was at the game with, and I said, "Did I just mush the Hamburglar?" Because he let in 3. They didn't pull him. They left him into the game.
You keep him in.
All of a sudden, I believe, and I want to pull up that game too, Sens Penguins 2015, and because the next memory I have was it was before the end of the second period, and they're down 3-0. And I said, if they can just get one here, if they can just get one goal here, I think that they have a chance. And they did. It was Pajot shorthanded, and then Ottawa outshot Pittsburgh 18-3 in the third period of that game. They tied up with 1.5 minutes left on the power play. And then Mark Stone sticks Selly in overtime. Unbelievable. And then, of course, they go on that Hamburglar run. MTG Canuck, that was the end of game 4. End of the second period, game 4, that Alfie took that slap shot because he could tell that the season was ending and his dreams of being a Stanley Cup champion. Quinn Lozon, the next game I'm going to December 31st. I'll be back home over Christmas for a few days. So I'm going to get to that game 1:00 on New Year's Eve. Nice way to kickstart that holiday. So that's going to be fun. And then Pilsy's coming down to Winnipeg. We're going to go to a North Dakota Fighting Hawks game against Johnny Gin and Tyconic, Roller Coaster Tyconic himself in Omaha. And then the next game we're going to go to is the next night in Winnipeg when the Ottawa Senators are there. So we've got 2 in the books, at least 1 for Pilsy and I together. But later on this season, Pilsy, we do have to get down to Ottawa to Stewie Sabrin.
Or Montreal.
Wouldn't make me upset either way. All right. Well, we're about 5 minutes away from the start of the broadcast on TSN 5 today. And Cheryl Pounder, friend of the show, on the broadcast. So tweet her nice things and let her know that you enjoyed her not only broadcasting at the Women's Rivalry Series, which was awesome. I got to catch that game in Ottawa on Tuesday night, just on obviously TV. But that was incredible. Not only hockey, but broadcasting, and let her know that you enjoyed her appearance with us on Locked On Senators. Pilsy, anything else before we go? I guess pump the show we're going to be doing after the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, our reaction shows are always some of our best. It's just, okay, quick, how are we feeling? Let's not get too into stats and everything, just straight emotion. So hopefully we get a win here so we can have some good emotion for a change. Final words from me. Go Sens, go.
No, your final word should be answering Jordy's comment right here.
Oh, okay.
Read it.
I don't see it.
You don't see it on the chat here? It's just me?
Yeah, I don't see it.
Should I buy a Zub jersey?
Oh, yeah. I mean, hell yeah, buy a Zub. Zub Nation, stand up. Get in on that.
Is he your player? Are you going to guarantee a Zub goal? He's got points in back-to-back games.
I mean, well, he is with the Duck Killer, Nick Holden. So there's definitely a chance that he has a good chance. So, yeah.
There's a chance that he has a good chance.
There's always a chance he has a good chance. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. Zub, goal happening.
All right, and I'll call a Thomas Chabot goal. Both guys maybe more unlikely, but Thomas Chabot still looking for his first goal of the season. Yeah, Martian, zip it. Zub's still going to play top 2 minutes on this team tonight. You think so, or do you think he's going to be down at 18 or less?
No, 20 or more. Yeah.
Whoa. You think over 20? All right, I'm with you. I'm gonna call 23 minutes for Artem Zub. All right, we literally don't know how to do a short show. We got to go. Thanks for joining us on our pregame live stream. I like the sound of that. We might have to make this a thing, especially if people are interested. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the screen as well. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Won't be long before you hear us again. We're recording Locked On Senators right after today's game. So enjoy the game. Go Sens, go. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the pregame live stream of the Locked On Senators podcast. Literally, your team every day.